I cannot stop looking at RC jets lately just because I've been having so much fun with them, particularly the 64mm size. It's been a lot of fun to mess around with. Now, my buddy Mach 3 RC, he has this jet and he has an absolute blast with it. So with it being on sale right now, I had to scoop one for myself and find out what all the hype is about. So today we are going to be unboxing and assembling and taking a look at the Freewing 64mm F-22 Raptor. So here we have everything out of the box for the very first time. Taking a look at everything and what's included, not very many parts whatsoever. Of course, we have our fuselage here, which has our steerable nose wheel already installed. We have our main wings, which already come with these servos pre-installed, hooked up, ready to go. One thing I did notice already that I really like is the fact that we actually get hinges with this airplane. A lot of times, smaller airplanes, smaller foam airplanes, you'll just get normal foam hinges, which sometimes you have to go back and like reinforce. These have actual plastic hinges in them, which is going to make this nice and sturdy. We're not going to have to worry about these hinges breaking or the aileron just straight up falling off. So that is super nice. The other thing here, this is technically, I guess, a 3-channel airplane. I think 4 since we do have reverse thrust, but there are no rudders on this airplane because we have the twin tails here. I would imagine cost-wise and honestly just maybe overall weight with the additional servos and things like that might just add it up to being a bit too much for this plane. But we do get our vertical stabilizers here, which looks like they just screw in through the bottom and attach to the airplane. No rudders on this guy though, but we do get the steerable nose wheel to help us steer on the ground, but these are just going to act as vertical stabilizers. However, they did make up for that in my opinion, because for what seems like the first time ever in a 64mm lineup, maybe it was the V2, I'm not sure, we get full flying rear horizontal stabilizers. That's right, we don't just get elevators, these whole things move on the back end of this plane, which is going to be freaking sweet. This whole stabilizer is going to move and control our airplane for us, which I think is super awesome. It's how all of the real full-size fighter jets are, like the F-16 and the F-22. Those whole stabilizers move, and the fact that we can get that on a 64mm EDF jet is going to be absolutely awesome. And I can't wait to see what it can actually do with all of that control in the back. So really excited about that one. Other than that, we have our main landing gear, which looks like they just kind of snap in and screw in just like any other typical EDF landing gear. And we got our hardware pack, which includes the screws for mounting the wings and the tails, and then our push rods for the full flying horizontal stabilizers, which should not be too bad at all. Overall, not too many parts. We are going to be powering this thing with a 2200 4S battery pack, which is recommended. And then we're just going to stick a simple 4-channel receiver in this thing, and we should have it together in really no time at all. So let's get cracking. We're going to flip this thing on its lid to start installing our wings. Simply connect the servo wire to the extension that's already nicely ran for us, slide the wing into position, and screw it down with the 2 screws. Repeat the same for the other side and make sure everything is snug but not over tight. And we're well on our way to having an airplane already. While we have this thing upside down on the stand, we're going to go ahead and install our main landing gear. Now this is a pretty simple system and is labeled nicely for the left and right sides. Simply place the landing gear in place, and the plastic cover snaps in over the top and screws down with the 2 screws on each side to lock everything together. Moving on to the vertical stabilizers, these slide nicely into place and are secured by 1 screw on each side to hold them down. Again, no rudders on this plane, so you don't have any wires or connections that you have to worry about. Now before we go ahead and attach our horizontal stabilizers, we are going to hook up all of our servo wires and get our radial bound to our receiver so we can make sure the elevator servos are center before we hook up the push rod. Once everything is plugged in, bound, and powered up, we can go ahead and slide our horizontal stabilizers into position. Now with the servos centered, we take our push rod and adjust the clasp on the end to ensure that the stabilizer sits where we want it to. Now according to the instructions, we want them sitting slightly in the up position. We don't want them sitting completely neutral. 6 to 7 millimeters is what they say to shoot for. Now really important step here, because the instructions really kind of gloss over it, make sure sure to install these tiny screws here. This is what holds the stabilizer onto that rod. And without them, they will just slide back and forth, which you definitely don't want. Now, last thing is just to do one final once over, make sure everything works and is going in the right direction. Maybe try to not launch it off the table before you set up your throttle cut, and you're good to go. And just like that, we have a fully assembled F-22 Raptor ready to go in pretty much no time at all. I'm not even kidding. 30 to 45 minutes is what it took me with filming and moving cameras around and everything to get this thing fully assembled. Honestly, with the minimum parts required and the fact that there's no glue required to assemble this thing, it's just simple screws, makes that assembly really, really easy, makes it really nice, makes it super clean that you can do it pretty quick with really no mess. Overall, pretty straightforward assembly. The instructions, they are what they are. It seems like with a lot of foam planes nowadays, some things just don't line up, or they didn't get updated with, say, like V2 variants of the kits, or they might try to just include a bunch of different versions of the same plane to just not have to print different instruction manuals. But pretty straightforward, simple install. If you're watching this video, hopefully it kind of helped you if you're looking at picking this thing up, kind of get this thing assembled if this is one of your first EDF jets that you're putting together. But all in all, pretty impressed with the quality of everything and how easy everything went together and how well everything fit. One thing I'm not a fan of, just the little pull tab. Can we please get rid of these little pull tabs for our hatches? Just put a little button or a little latch in there. I would really, really appreciate it, just because it takes away so much from the look of the entire airplane. You got a lot of scale details and things like that, and then you just got this little piece of tape hanging out. It bugs me, it drives me crazy. But overall, really, really happy with this thing. It looks absolutely incredible. F-22, it's a badass airplane, and I think this is going to be just an awesome RC version of that. And if everything that I've seen and have watched holds up with this one, I think we're going to have an absolutely great time with it. So if you want to go ahead and pick this plane up for yourself, and you're watching this within the time span that that deal is running, you would save like $30 on this thing. It's like $149 right now, which is an absolutely insane deal for this airplane. So go check it out. The link in the description, I'll put it down there for you so you can go check it out for yourself. And yeah, get yourself an F-22 Raptor. But we are gonna wait for the next nice day here. We're gonna take this thing out on its maiden flight and see what it's all about, see what it's capable of, and see, you know, if this might be my new favorite 64mm EDF jet. So make sure to follow along, subscribe, stay tuned for that video, like this video, drop a comment down below if you've had any experience or luck with this F-22 Raptor, and if there's anything you'd recommend before going out for the first flight. I'm Alex from Hangar 14 RC. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you later.